what's up, everybody? Today, we're going to talk about Stephen Jones and some very telling comments that he had here on Talking Cowboys on DallasCowboys.com. This is serious because we're learning some key information here about the process here and all sorts of nuggets here. Whenever Stephen Jones talks, I love tuning in because he's pretty good at dropping little clues here and there. He's not as ambiguous as Jerry Jones is. So when he talks, you got to listen, okay? So I got a lot of clips here. Well, not a lot, but a couple of clips here of his interview here that he had here earlier today. And I just want to break down a couple of the key discussion here that really caught my ear, okay? So check this out real quick.
We just felt like we wanted to get better on the defensive side of the football, and the best way to do that is not overpay for some guys and, start the process in terms of the draft. But we accomplished a lot in the draft. It really fell for us in the right way. I give Will McClay and his group a lot of credit in terms of when we first sat down, when the season was first over, really walking Jerry and I through what might be available in the draft in terms of being able to fill some holes if we lost players in free agency, and not to go overboard in free agency, knowing that if we'd let the draft come to us, that we could make some big-time progress in terms of getting younger on defense, and at the same time having a great opportunity to really improve ourselves on the defensive side of the ball.
All right, so there, Stephen Jones is talking about how big basically how much Will McClay helped in this whole process in the offseason. You know, it all comes down to the draft, and Will McClay, the main personnel guy there, gave these guys, Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones, enough information. He does a lot of the legwork. He gets all this information, presents it to Stephen and Jerry, and lets them know that, hey, we can let these guys walk. Here's who I have on the menu here for you guys for the draft, and we can fill these holes. And that's what they did, okay? And then from Stephen's point of view, this works great for them because they're not overpaying free agents. Those days are over. We're going to see the big names again here next offseason. People are going to want this and that and this guy and all that other junk. It's not going to happen anymore. It just isn't, okay? So they're going to go through the draft. And this has been a long time coming for the Cowboys. Jimmy Johnson was good at this, and they kind of lost a lot of that between then and Bill Parcells. I think Bill Parcells got them back on track, and I think Stephen Jones, and they learned a lot from Bill Parcells. I think that is one legacy we can take from Bill Parcells. Got them back on track. Will McClay into the mix here now. I think they're figuring this thing out now, okay? And Will McClay, he's a big piece of this, very integral part of this, okay? So let's take a look at another clip here. In this clip here, they're talking about the offensive line and Lyle Collins at right tackle. Check this out.
Obviously, some moving parts there in the offensive line with Ron Leary leaving, and of course getting Lyle Collins back, and he's doing some really great work out there at right tackle. And of course, that should only make us better. I mean, any type of flexibility you can have in that offensive line, we all know what happens. You do in particular, Nate, during the course of a season. You have, you have dings, you have injuries, and people, sometimes you have to move guys around. And ultimately, what you want are your best 5 guys on the field. So the fact that Lyle is getting great work out there at right tackle, I think is a huge positive, and he actually looks like he belongs out there. So All right. So obviously, Stephen Jones really likes Lyle Collins there at right tackle. Says he belongs out there, right? So along with that, they want to get the best 5 guys out there on the offensive line. Still begs the question, who's going to be the left guard? Who is that other best option there at left guard? And is that still going to be your best 5? Okay, so we're going to keep an eye on that there. And we'll see what they do there. But let's check out this next clip here. Check this out. To keep our eyes open, and with depth also comes the opportunity to, switch some players out, player for player type deals, or even a player for a draft pick. But I do think we got some football players that may end up not being on our 53, but maybe on somebody else's 53, and who knows how that comes about. But it's very competitive out there, and it'll be really interesting to watch this unfold here over the next 2 days of OTAs, and then, of course, finishing up with mini camps, and then training camp. Here we come.
Okay, that might have been the most telling, the most spicy part. The most juicy part of this interview, I think, was that little part right there, okay? They're not done, okay? They're constantly evaluating this roster. So Stephen Jones talking about, you know, possibly doing a player for player trade or a player for a draft pick trade. You have to wonder, where on this team would you need something like that, okay? Are we talking a secondary? Are we talking another defensive lineman? Are we talking, you know, offensive line? For me, I think it is. I think it might be offensive line. I'm not so sure. They have a lot of bodies there at the left guard position that are going to try out the position there. But I'm not so sure that they're sold on any of those guys there. But obviously Stephen Jones is leaving that option open. It's on the table, okay? And I kind of suspected this, and I'm not saying this is going to be for offensive line. It could be for any position on the team. But just the fact that they still have those compensatory picks coming to them, you know, next year, they have draft ammo, okay? They have draft ammo in their back pocket to make another move, you know, like they did for Xavier Woods. They knew they had that ammo. They got Xavier Woods. We still have that ammo. They may make another move here and add a guy through, you know, giving a draft pick for a player. Okay, so let's keep an eye on that. I think that was very, very telling on Stephen Jones' part. Pretty interesting stuff, don't you think? But that's it, guys. That's all we have right now. Keep an eye out here for Cowboys Huddle episode 4. We're going to be working on that tonight, and that'll come out tomorrow. So keep an eye out on that. Good things as usual. We're gonna have a good discussion there. So thanks for following me. Please, you know, subscribe if you haven't already. Share, like, and all that sort of thing. I love everybody's commentary as usual, and really appreciate every single one of you guys. All right, so we'll see you here for the next video. Thanks, guys.